Please pardon the wind. Part 3. This is the final video in the series of the land search and purchase process. And these are the basic steps of the purchase process. So, you found the land that you want. You found the property that you want. That was the hardest part of the process. You've done your due diligence. If you don't know what that requires, look at video 2 in the series. So, what is next? Who is going to see that land on your behalf? If it's not in your region, pay somebody to go and see it. Send somebody that you love and trust, someone whose assessment of the land you can trust, to go and see that land on your behalf. Do not buy the land sight unseen. If this is property for your family, for your legacy, for your homestead, for your farm, you want someone there to use their senses, to see it, to smell it, to feel it, to see the surrounding area, to walk the land, have them FaceTime you or video call you, and allow them to be your eyes in the present moment on that property. Once someone sees the property for you, or you see it for yourself and you know that it is what you want, you're going to submit a offer letter. Okay, this video is for those who are buying land in cash, not financing land. So this is referring to a cash offer letter. It's a very basic letter. You're going to state the address of the property or the parcel number of the property, what you want to pay for that property, what you're willing to pay for that property. It's not final. Your cash offer doesn't constitute a binding agreement. It's just your offer. And so if the owner of the property or their representative, the agent, attorney, agrees to that amount, then you will receive a purchase agreement. This is a binding document. The purchase agreement is something that they will sign and something that you will sign to say this is what you are actually going to pay for that property. Here's a sample of the cash offer letter. Really basic, read it through. If there's a specific reason, something you noticed on the property that made you ask to pay a lesser amount, here's a place to mention that. Now, along with the purchase agreement may be an earnest deposit. Sometimes the sites that we're looking for are listed on multiple media. They're on the web in all kinds of places. And so when you submit that earnest deposit, this is letting the owner or their representative know you're serious about purchasing the property, and they're going to put it into a pending status on all of the places that it's listed to let other onlookers know that it's in the process of being bought. Now we're getting into the closing process, okay? So during closing, you're going to have a title search. You want a title search. You want to make sure that there is nothing attached to the title for this property, that when you buy it, it's yours outright. There's been no liens on the property. There's no monies owed to some outside company or anyone who can come later on and say, I actually hold the title to this land. So you want to pay the fees to have someone go and do this title search. The title search typically takes place in person. The attorney or owner, again, whoever their representative is going to go in person and search the deeds in that county for the property to make sure that it's clean, okay? In addition to that, part of the closing process is title insurance. It's another safeguard step. Title search, safeguard step. Title insurance, a further safeguard step to say if by some odd chance something was missed in the title search, you are insured for the money that you paid for that property. Next, you're going to receive a HUD Settlement Statement, Housing and Urban Development Settlement Statement. You would get this also if the property was financed, but in the form of a cash offer, it's very short. And this is just going to say what you and the seller of the property agreed that you would pay for the property. It's going to list any other fees that were associated with the sale of the property. Again, this is something you're both going to sign, and this is a part of the final steps in the closing for the property. Now, it's generally time to send your wire transfer for the payment of the property. So, as far as your wire transfer, this is actually much safer than you might realize. The bank has its own safeguards, the company receiving the fund has its own safeguards to make sure that your money goes through smoothly. So, you want to make sure you have the full amount of what you're paying for this property in an account that you can send a wire transfer from. If it's in your savings, you might have to transfer it to checking to send that wire transfer. Contact your bank and find out how it goes. There's typically code numbers that go along with it to authenticate the process. But again, this is a typical process. It is a very safe process because of all the safeguards that are put into place. Now, once the seller receives your funds, you're going to be waiting to receive your evidence of the title insurance. This can take up to 30 days, okay? And then you're also waiting for the new deed with your name on it to be recorded in the county recorder's office. So depending on the time frame, it could be a week to 2 weeks to 3 weeks. You can call in, give that parcel number, give the address, and you can make sure that it's now your name, the name of your family trust, the name of your corporation, whatever you bought that property under is now on the property. And now you're a land steward, you're a landowner. Blessings, enjoy. Quick recap. You found the property, you've done your due diligence, you saw the property, your offer was accepted, you sent your funds, the title search came back clean, you checked with the county recorder's office, the deed now has your name on it, and you've received your title insurance documents. Again, the benefit of having someone see the land in person, walk the land in person. There could be a industrial facility nearby or even a couple miles away that processes something disgusting that you would never want to inhale. You would never want your children, your animals, your loved ones to inhale. That's right there. These are things you can't get in the pictures. Sometimes you can call the city commissioner and get the information about things like this in the area, but having someone on site can tell you all of those things directly. What do they smell on the land when they're there? What are they picking up in the wind? Where does the sun hit where you were imagining from the pictures placing your house or placing your garden beds? What's going on in the stores around? The property could look great, but then you're going down the street to the market and it's a drive you would never want to take. You want someone to be there. And if you can't be there yourself, please send someone that you trust before you give your money, your savings, however much it is, to purchase something that you don't feel completely confident in. It's a very important step that should not be missed. Thanks for watching.